Well, good morning. I'm Brent Adams here with your Rural Strong Morning Ag Report for this Wednesday, October 4th, the 277th day of 2023. Leading off the headlines this morning with less than 30 voting days remaining on the House calendar for the legislative session, and with the fate of a new farm bill hanging in the balance, lawmakers yesterday evening voted to remove Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. It was the first time in U.S. history that a Speaker has been removed. The California Republican had been on the hot seat with some GOP lawmakers when he brokered an 11th hour bipartisan deal on a temporary government spending bill that averted a government shutdown until at least November 17th. McCarthy said he will not run again for Speaker. Representative Patrick McHenry of North Carolina will serve as interim Speaker. And as drama is playing out in the House, longtime Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley is blaming Senate Ag Chair Debbie Stabenow for holding up a farm bill. Grassley says Stabenow refuses to move money around in a farm bill whose spending size was frozen by budget writers.
Unless we can transfer money from one part of the farm bill to another, which until now Stabenow doesn't want to do it, the chances of getting more money for almost anything. And we got 85% of the bill is nutrition.
Stabenow earlier refused to discuss differences with Ag Republicans led by Arkansas Senator John Boozman, but said the two had pressed Secretary Tom Vilsack to increase farm bill spending with CCC money. Grassley predicts the 2018 farm bill that expired Sunday will have to be extended by at least 1 year, leaving producers with outdated crop supports. Separately, Grassley hopes the Supreme Court this term will overturn a 1980s ruling involving Chevron that gives deference to agency bureaucrats.
There's a good chance that Chevron will be overturned, sending a message to the Congress that we should be more specific in the legislation we write, and then sending a message to the bureaucrats that you can't interpret any statute beyond what the statute itself says.
Pointing to waters of the U.S. where EPA claims it's abiding by a high court ruling earlier this year, but Grassley claims
can still be manipulated by bureaucrats out the grassroots to say something is a wetland and can't be disturbed when it really isn't a wetland.
Grassley argues that WOTUS needs more clarification, and if the Supreme Court overturns the Chevron decision, it will strengthen the checks and balances of government. Well, Harold Woley, a Minnesota farmer, officially took over as the new president of the National Corn Growers Association. Woley has several goals in mind, saying that reauthorizing a farm bill that reflects the priorities of corn growers will be a pressing concern. He also plans to push for more support of the Next Generation Fuels Act in the House and Senate, while making ethanol a go-to biofuel in the aviation sector. Woley has a lot of experience in many issues important to corn growers. He served on NCGA committees and the organization's board, including as a board liaison to the National Corn to Ethanol Research Advisory Board. He's also past president of the Minnesota Corn Growers. Well, U.S. pork producers tasked the National Pork Producers Council with leading an effort to update the existing swine traceability system. NPPC wants swine producers, veterinarians, cull swine and breeding operators, and show pig enthusiasts to comment on the draft standards by October 27th. Approximately 1 million pigs are in transit every day, giving diseases plenty of opportunities to spread, says Scott Hayes, NPPC president and Missouri pork producer. With the growing threat of a foreign animal disease reaching the U.S., the need to address gaps in our existing traceability system is important for farms and industry. International markets would close immediately if a foreign animal disease were discovered in the United States. Hayes went on to say, with $7.7 billion worth of pork being sold to international consumers, we need to assure our trading partners that we can identify disease-free animals and provide products from unaffected farms. For more information, go to nppc.org/trace. Well, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association hailed the reauthorization of the Animal Drug User Fee Act. The act allows the FDA's Center for Veterinary Medicine to collect fees from animal health companies, which fund the agency's review and approval process for new animal drugs. NCBA Chief Veterinarian Kathy Simmons says drug innovations are happening every day and that the Animal Drug User Fee Act ensures the FDA has the resources it needs to review these new technologies for safety and efficacy and to bring them to market for cattle producers. And finally, this morning, a new report shows that globally, the yearly growth in agricultural productivity is shrinking. Here with more details is USDA Radio's Gary Crawford.
Total Factor Productivity, TFP. It's a yearly measure of agricultural productivity growth in the world, a growth that is sustainable over time. A new report says to sustainably feed the world's population in the year 2050, the world will have to boost TFP an average of 1.91% every year from now until then. The report also says
we are on track to fall far below the TFP growth needed.
The report's editor, Dr. Tom Thompson with Virginia Tech University, he says climate change and less attention being paid to ag research are both cutting productivity gains in the world, and in fact, the U.S. is actually seeing a small decline in TFP. Thompson telling an audience in Washington Tuesday,
we need to enhance the environment for productivity-enhancing tools, reduce barriers to adopting those tools, and find opportunities to reduce the impact of external shocks to make innovations available to farmers at all scales of agriculture.
This is Gary Crawford reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Well, you can keep up with the latest in the world of agriculture by subscribing to the Tractors and Troubadours podcast from Rural Strong Media. Each week, I bring you agriculture industry newsmakers, hot-button industry issues, educational features, and the best in traditional country music. The Tractors and Troubadours podcast can be found at ruralstrongmedia.com or wherever you get your podcasts. We also invite you to join us daily on Rural Strong Radio, our 24/7 streaming radio station, found at ruralstrongmedia.com or on the Live 365 streaming radio app for your mobile device. Each day, we bring you our award-winning agriculture programming, as well as the best in traditional country music, mixed in with a little bluegrass, western swing, southern rock, and inspirational music. Again, the place to find Rural Strong Radio is ruralstrongmedia.com or the Live 365 streaming radio app. We're portable, so take us with you everywhere you go this harvest season. We'll get you through those long, challenging days this fall. Well, I'll be back again tomorrow with another Rural Strong Morning Ag Report here on Steve Shetler Media. Make it a great day, everybody.